Good evening, people. 21 questions. I am your host, IC. That's ICIE Music. I'm going to put that in the comment section right about now. How are we all doing? Let me get a high in the comment section, a wave, a sign. Hey. If you've never ever been involved or tuned into the sit down and what we do, we are a live Q&A platform. What we try and do is get guests on and just find out their story from behind the scenes, find out what life is like for them when they're off camera, when they're behind the mic, when they're behind their business. So thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to be here with Mo Samuels, one half of Sons of Sonix, a production duo behind some of your biggest hits and your biggest artists. Big up Mikey in the room. Good to have you, sir. But we're going to have a great time today. So let me get like a couch. Put a couch in the comment section if you're in the building. Let's get this all set up. And make sure after this live, click the link in our bio. All right, we've got so many interviews, up to 30 interviews that we've been doing since this lockdown period. Make sure you log in, click the link in our bio, press on the YouTube link, and you can watch all the episodes there, man. No worries, Mikey, man. Big up to you. JK, you're in the building. Good to see you always. Is Becky in the building? Big up Bree. Soraya, I see you. Who else we got? Jenna, I see you. Nice to have you. If it's your first time, let me see a crown or a trophy or something in the comment section. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are live. Let me just get this set up. All right. 21 questions. Let me get all this set up and then we'll invite our guest on. Cool. All right, cool. You guys are on time, so let's not waste any of it. I am your host, like I said, ICIE Music, and we've been doing this since the beginning of the lockdown. Some amazing conversations we've been having, and we've got an amazing guest on today that's going to just share behind the scenes from the music industry perspective, but also from him as a person. So without further ado, let us get into it. I'm going to invite Mo on to the chat. What's up?
Oh, I see. Wow. You know what's so funny, right? Before we started, you asked me to do this, I was actually sitting and just thinking of like the gospel scene from like 2007, 8, and I remember commissioning. I remember seeing you guys, and I remember wanting to play for you like during those times.
Really?
Yeah, man. So many times. You know, I was, with Caleb and Joshua and them guys. So it's just, it's full circle. 10 years later.
Full circle, man. How you been?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's amazing.
Oh, come on, man.
That you have here. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on for sure.
No worries, man. No, I mean, we've known each other for a while, and I just thought, I know that you're full of so much experience and there's so much knowledge and so much life lessons that you've had. And I thought, I'd love for us to kind of unpack that on your platform and everything. So now, man, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. I haven't seen you in the flesh since, I think it was Wretch's launch. Yeah, in Shoreditch. Yeah.
Wow,
but 17?
16? Which album? Growing Over Life?
Growing Over Life.
16.
Yeah. It's good to see you, man. Well, welcome onto the platform, man. 21 questions. You're going to have up to 21 questions or more. But in there, you have one pass card only. So if you want to skip a question, you can skip a question, but you've only got one pass card, all right? But we're going to start off light, with the quick fire round, all right? Let's see if I got this up. So quick fire round, just answer the questions as they come to your head. Let's go. Who is your biggest inspiration?
My brother Harmony.
Harmony, okay. What song do you wish you produced?
Drake, God's Plan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How come? Why?
Smash. Yeah, that song's amazing. That song's amazing.
All right. What gets you angry?
Ooh. Off the top of my head, people not finishing things.
People not finishing things, okay. Yeah. Okay. When are you the happiest?
When I'm in the studio and me and Mikey we look at each other like, it's one of those ones.
Yeah, eureka moment.
Yeah, those moments are like priceless. You know what I mean? Like getting in the momentum where you're able to do that over and over again is definitely second to none for sure.
Oh, come on. When did you last cry?
2 weeks ago.
Why?
It was crazy. Obviously the whole SARS things was going on. Obviously America's crazy, and then a very close friend of mine had an incident at home where he basically stabbed himself. So that was just, I guess at that moment it was just a whole bunch of emotion, and you know, I was just like, are you up there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So 2 weeks ago.
Mad. Deep. What's your favorite studio snack?
Now?
Yeah. Why did it change? Yeah.
Nah, it's changed. I mean, obviously trying to be healthy. Rice cakes and almond butter.
Wow. Is it them white rice cakes, them dry ones?
Yeah. They're those have that with almond butter. I'm straight. I'm good.
Come on. All right. Who do you prefer to work with, big labels or independents?
Independent labels.
Independent, okay. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
I woke up in the morning and just traveled. And just
Where
left
did you go?
and I'm going. Where did I go? I think it was Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, just like that?
I think I was like, I'm going to Atlanta. And that's right.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Good to do that. What's your studio pet peeve? One of your studio's pet peeves?
When artists bring their whole battalion to the studio and then it almost feels like you're performing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just trying to work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I hear that.
Like a pet peeve, yeah. Favorite
item in your wardrobe?
I got a few. Probably my Sade t-shirt.
Sade. Oh, okay. Come on, stylist. What are you most proud of?
Looking after my parents.
Oh, that's one of. I think for a lot of people, that's actually their dream. Like they do it. It's not for themselves. It's for the people around them. Love it. Biggest life lesson.
Struggle doesn't exist, only process.
Struggle doesn't exist, only process. Come on, you already started the gems, but it's only like we're 11 minutes in. Okay, cool. Name a song that you've written or produced that nobody knows it's you guys. And name a song you've written or produced that nobody actually knows it was you, or wouldn't think it would be you.
Wouldn't think. Okay. We did 5 songs on Mel C's album in 2015. Not a lot of people know that.
Spice Girl Mel C.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think she went top 20. Yeah, it was a good bring back, actually. Yeah, it was good.
And lastly, greatest piece of advice you've ever received?
Has to be something I said months ago. Mike Todd. Focus on the result, not the results.
Focus on the
resolve, not the results.
Okay, what does that mean?
consistency. So rather than focusing on the result of something, so example, go into the gym and then you do 10 press ups and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'm strong.
That's me. That's me. That's me.
You know what I'm saying? Like focusing more on the consistency of it rather than the result, and then consistent, the result comes.
Love it. Love it. You got a few seconds. You you answered them all. Bro,
I did.
Yeah.
I got there. Good. I got there. I got there. I was
Love
looking
it.
at the time like, damn, I might miss it.
Well, thank you, man. You did well. You've been practicing.
No, but I had to. I had to be 2 steps ahead. Just wonder what the questions might be.
That way, we got you, man. We got you. Big up Mikey in the room as well.
Shout out Mikey.
Sons of Sonix. So we're going to start off from the top. I want to know, what is your happiest childhood memory?
Man. Happiest childhood memory. Man. Woo, that's a hard one. I'm having to dig into the trenches to find this.
That's right.
Is there an age gap?
No. As long as you can locate it in your youth.
Okay. Man.
Are they that far between?
Yeah, it's just there's so many happy moments, I guess, or moments in my youth. Man.
Which one comes to mind? What was makes you smile?
You know what? I'll be honest. Maybe turning 18 and going off to uni. That was a good moment in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. That's one I can think of off the top of my head, just because it's the transition where you're kind of leaving the mother nest and then you're kind of going off to do your own thing. So I guess that was kind of very much like, wow, this is real kind of moment, but exciting at the same time. Yeah.
What about what's one of your saddest
moment? Oh man, one of my childhood friends actually passed away. But the way he passed away was a weird one because he had an injury. So he did athletics, right? And I think he threw a javelin one day. And he fell awkwardly, right? And his knee was hurting or something. His knee just was hurting. It just didn't look right. So they took him to the doctor, and then next minute they find out he has cancer. And it was just like, huh? It just didn't correlate. It didn't correlate. But I guess he had it before, but they just didn't know. And then within weeks, he was dead. It was weird. I remember coming home from school, and my mum sitting on the couch, and she was just like, so and so is dead. I was like, huh? I was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to cry about it. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you experience death differently when you get older than when you do when you're younger, for me anyway. It was just trying to just be like, huh? He's dead? Huh? It just didn't make sense, That was definitely a pivotal moment in my youth, for sure.
What way did it affect you, if any? Positively or negatively?
It affected me because it didn't make sense. This was a good kid. Digging deeper, I guess I was the bad kid. Let's put it like that. And his family at the time were very much like, don't hang around with him and whatnot. But he would always hang with me. I'm trying to say he would knock on my door, and then run around the side and then text me and be like, I'm round the back. Let's go. I'm trying to say. So, being able to kind of get in your mind to a place where you're like, okay, that's not going to happen anymore. This isn't a guy that's going to knock on my door and then run around the back so my parents don't see him or his parents don't see him knocking for me because he lived 2 doors away from me. So that was definitely interesting. I'm trying to say that was probably the first death that I experienced that I was just like, huh? So, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Looking at that childhood kind of time, what was your relationship like with your parents and now? And is there any difference between how it was then and how it is
Man,
now?
whew, help me, bro. It was tough, bro. It was tough, and you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's been easy even up until this point.
Mm.
You know, coming from an African household, bro, there's certain rules and regulations you have to follow. I know Mikey's definitely like shaking his head because he knows. You know, but there's certain rules that you have to follow, and then it's also curbed with religion. You know, I'm trying to say, and then they teach you a whole bunch of doctrines that they try and make you follow, not because they actually believe it themselves, but because they're realistically trying to control you in some regard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's something that I fought back a lot
Wow.
on, you know, because it was just like, but this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And why should I do this? And you're telling me not to do this with no explanation. It just didn't make any sense.
Mm.
And obviously at the time, obviously Harmony's, you know, 10 years older than me. And, you know, going into, I guess, the music industry was always just a no-no. It's just heck no, it ain't happening. Nope. You know what I'm trying to say? So when I started coming through, it wasn't as bad as Harmony had it, because obviously he had, you know, paved the way, things had started happening. So as much as they were very much still like, no, we don't want you to do it, it wasn't as bad as he got it. So yeah, it was just a whole bunch of no's and you can't do this, and I guess using God as a tool to kind of stop you from doing it, and so many other things. And then you kind of obviously don't listen, and then you're just like, well, I'm leaving home. You leave home. You kind of just find your way, and then it works. See, that's the part. It actually ends up working, and then it's kind of like it's that kind of middle ground where they don't want to apologize, but they apologize in a way that is comfortable for them without kind of burning their ego. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like it's that balance. So like I said, obviously now I'm not gonna say it's the greatest, but it's in a good enough place. You know what I'm trying to say, where duties are being done and everyone is living cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, it's interesting. Definitely pivotal moments in the transition between being a young man and I guess being a grown man. Definitely. So.
And now being a grown man, do you ever look back on some of their decisions and kind of understand maybe where they were coming from?
To a degree. Everything. I guess, should I say, the devil does is to create environments of fear. Wherever fear is, he's there in it. And my parents were acting from a place of fear and protection. You know, what you don't know, you're trying to protect people from. So to them, the music industry was going to play for Sonny Okosun or going to play for Ebenezer Obey. That was their understanding of it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But there's obviously so much like branches that come off of it, and there's so many. The how lucrative it actually is something they didn't know. So I guess in some regard, you're just like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, it kind of forces you to be like, so what Bible are you reading? Because the Bible says a certain. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's that you're telling me not to do this, but then the same thing you're reading is telling me to do this. It's just like, how does that kind of balance up? So I guess in some regard, you kind of do understand, but then it also kind of forces you to ask certain questions, like why this? And, all right, I'm understanding that, you know, you might not have known in some regard, but then the God that you serve, let me put it in that way, the God that you serve says something completely different. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's like they pick and choose what they want to kind of be like, well, the Bible says this, so stop this. But then it also says this. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That was the real crossroad that I found myself in. So yeah, in some regard, I definitely do understand. But I guess on the other side of it, it's also like, maybe there was an element of fear, maybe an element of ignorance in some regard. I can be honest about that. And yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Does that kind of
not knowing?
Yeah, not knowing. Yeah. Does that kind of impact how you would want to be as a parent? What type of parent, if you want to have children, what type of parent would you want to be?
Absolutely. The internet has changed a lot. When you think about where things were 10, 15 years ago,
Cheers.
The internet has played a very big part in just the acquisition of knowledge. So now there isn't an excuse. I'm trying to say everything you need, everything you want is at your disposal if you want to know it. So for me, I think it's the idea, I guess from my understanding, the idea is to basically not stop, but to basically warn or to kind of give advice. Our parents didn't really advise us. They warned us. They told us not to do something without necessarily giving us reasons as to why not to do that. Does that make sense?
It does.
And for me, growing up and being a youngster, I know that explanation about anything is very important. You have to explain this to me. This has to make sense to me. You can't tell me don't do this. I'm inquisitive. That's how we were made. I'm naturally going to be like, but why? But why shouldn't I do this? What's the reason? And if the reason isn't good enough, I'm going to do whatever it is and then find out. I'm trying to say. Sometimes, I guess in some regard, for me, it's the importance of explanation, explaining something while you're also saying not to do something. So it's more advice rather than warning and saying not to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because our natural instincts are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm going to do it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
yeah,
that's
so true. That's deep. I love that. So you talked about your parents. What was your relationship with your brother, Harmony?
Man, that was probably the relationship that I treasured the most at the time.
Wow.
I remember being 8 years old and he left home when he was 18. I'm trying to say he had got to that point where he was just like, no, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? You guys don't believe. And he's the firstborn. So, it's, for him, he had a dream. He saw something, I guess, that everybody else except me in the house didn't see. So watching him leave home at the time, I was crying. I was just like, this don't make no sense. Like,
wow,
what situation is that bad that's making you not want to be around everybody? And it just didn't make sense. But throughout that whole period from being 8 years old up until I started going to LA in 2010, we were in constant contact. So he would come to my sports day. He was like the middle ground between me and my parents. So he was that, like, I understand my parents saying, but I get you because I'm kind of like young, but you get what I'm trying to say. So he was always at my sports day, even though I was in South London, he was in North London. The relationship with our parents at the time weren't his relationship with my parents weren't the greatest. So seeing him was kind of like hard at the same time. It was a real intense battle, but our connection never died. One of my best friends, you get what I'm trying to say. And I remember getting to LA in 2010 and he saw me, and that hug was a very long one. I hadn't seen him for like 4 years prior to that.
Wow.
Getting there and seeing him, that hug was definitely a long awaited one, So that was probably something that carried me through that whole period for sure.
That is beautiful. Big up Harmony, man. I think a lot of people see him a little bit in the light of how you see him as that big brother who went, the big brother who went to see out the land and showed it was possible. So big up to him, man. Let's dive a bit into who you are beyond music, away from music, but as a person, you are a walking. From what I see, you're a walking catwalk. You dress for fashion shows like as a normal thing. Where did that love for fashion come from?
Where did the love for fashion come from? It's funny how when you're actually in the moments of certain things happening in your life, you don't understand how like pivotal it will be later on. But I just remember being young, and I guess just dark-skinned guys weren't the guys then. You know what I'm trying to say? We just weren't the looked at ones. We weren't the ones, and I guess we just weren't the ones. You know what I'm trying to say? And I guess that was it. In my head, it was just like, all right, so if I'm not attractive in the face, I'm going to make you look at whatever it is I'm wearing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm going to do it in a way where it isn't the typical, because I've never been a typical Louis V or anything, and that's not to, you know, put anyone else down that gets that. It's lovely stuff, and I do have some of that, but that isn't the main source of fashion for me. I'll go to a thrift store any day. I'll go to a charity store. I'll go to, you know what I'm trying to say, I'll pull together the weirdest things and make it work. That's always been something that I've always loved doing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But yeah, it was really that moment, and it was just like, all right, cool. Well, since that isn't the case, since man's not really nice, man's gonna dress in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I kind of just started experimenting and just trying things. It's one of the things that I've, you know, that's always been a part of me. Is just like, I'm not afraid to try things. I'm not afraid to try it. Like, I try it and see what happens. Try it and see what happens. See what happens. Do you get what I'm trying to say? At least I can't turn around and be like, damn, I wish I tried it. Now it's just like, well, I tried it, didn't work. On to the next. So, that's kind of like where it started. And then, you know, as you kind of go further in your career, certain doors open, and I've, you know, been, you know, myself, Mikey and I have had the privilege of obviously, you know, going to Paris Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. We have an amazing fashion designer who styles us, you know, styled us for the Grammys and so many other things. Aisha? Aisha actually used to style me when I was in London before I moved to LA. But there's another girl who lives in New York. She's from New York, and her name's Tajma. Shout out Tajma. She does a great job when it comes to putting stuff together for me. I'll send her weird stuff, and she was just like, she would just be like, "Perfect, Mr. Weird, perfect." But somehow we always make it work. So, you know,
love it.
Appreciate it for that, for sure.
Yeah, man, don't lose that, man. It's beautiful. I love seeing. Would you say, is that also an extension of your creativity and just your creative nature?
Yeah. I like
your expression.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, going back to what I was saying about, you know, growing up in a specific environment, certain things were not allowed. You know what I'm trying to say? Certain things were not of God. Certain things were against, everything that was to do with that culture. And I've always been someone that is just like against the grain. I'm going to do it. So, you know, growing my hair, for instance, was just like, in which house? And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. So it's just like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So you either accept it or, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's just being your truest self. You know what I'm trying to say? It's really the discovery of yourself. You know what I mean? Who you really are. And this is who I am. So.
And I think that really, you know, the rebellion, sometimes the rebellion is not, it's not intentionally to look like it's rebellion, but it's a trying to just discover yourself.
Yeah.
And once you discover yourself and you're happy with it, there's going to be people who accept that, and there's going to be people that push against that. And it takes someone who really in themselves says, regardless, this is me. And this is who I am. And that, you know, and especially in the music industry, that takes a lot of work to get there. But to have that before getting there, that's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
I totally agree. It does take time, and it's really just about how much do you believe it? Like, how much do you believe in this thing? How much do you believe in this thing so much that you're willing to turn your back on the people that say that they're your family? You know what I'm trying to say? Because at that point, it's just like, it has to work then. It has to work now. Because you've forsaken everything else to in some respect, prove a point. You know what I'm trying to say? And, you know what I'm trying to say? And even down to, like I said, like the outward appearance, you know, to them, you have short hair, no earring, none of this. Their idea of the perfect son or the perfect was that. But then you kind of go against that. And then you're still getting accepted into certain rooms. You're still sitting down with some of the top executives in the game. And it's just like, well, yeah, it clearly isn't about how you look. It's about what's inside your character, you know, how you carry yourself. You know what I'm trying to say? One of the, you know, things me and Mikey say all the time is, you know, the experience is way more important than the product. You know what I'm trying to say? Because we can sit here and make as many records. You know, if someone thinks you're an idiot, they're going to walk away and be like, he's talented, but nah, he's not a nice person to be around. And that's the door shot, you know what I'm trying to say. So
that's true.
Characteristics for the product for sure.
Big up to everyone that's joining us so far for 21
Yes.
Questions with Mo Samuels, man. Mo's given us the gems. We've been talking about his childhood, talking about that self-discovery and cementing that in who he is. And then going to America, let's get into that. So you've been, how long have you been in America now?
Ooh. I've been coming here consecutively since 2010.
Okay.
But we moved in 2015, 15,
Okay.
16, so about 5 years now. Yeah.
And how did you and Mikey even meet?
Church.
Okay. What church did you go to?
Caleb's church. Caleb's dad church. Caleb, Joshua, Cleworm, Old Kent Road.
Kent Road, that's it.
That's where, remember the ambassadors, they were from there. Joshua, yeah. That's the church. Yeah, that was the church that we went to. So, he was at church. But what's crazy is there was another church, my uncle's church, years before, like 2002. I used to go there, my mom's brother, and Mikey, he tells the story all the time. And he said he came there and he saw me, and we were cool. And then I didn't see him again for like 2 years. And then come 2004, he's at the same church. And he says he came up to me and was just like, yo, remember me from the old church? And I'm like, bro, I don't remember you. I'm like, I don't. Obviously, it wasn't anything malicious, but I honestly didn't remember. But we were always like close and cool from then, like from church. We, I'm trying to say, we were producing separately before we came together. But before production, it was just live shows. We were doing live shows for everybody. I'm trying to say, like, you know how it was, the gospel scene back then. It was just Youth Alive after gospel, youth show after something else. We were always playing for someone, I'm trying to say. So that's really where our bond kind of grew in church and stuff. And then that kind of just led on to the production side of things in 2009, where we officially come together.
And who initiated that? Who said that? Look, we're just doing this separate. Let's come together.
It was a mutual conversation. We were on a church retreat, and obviously at the time we just didn't like how things were in London. The music, the music scene, it was just like no one's listening. No one wants to work with anybody. Everyone's in their clique as usual. And we're just like, you know what? You're good. I'm good. Let's come together. I'm trying to say. Wow. And I remember being on a stage and we were thinking of names. Like we call ourselves, and that was how exciting it is. You know when you come up with an idea and then you automatically want to get onto it straight away. Like we were just thinking, and then it started off with SOS Entertainment, and then as time grew, it just became Sons of Sonix. So that's really where the groundwork really started, man. 12, 13, jumping on 53, 21, Lewisham, Woolwich. Yeah, it was a very, very, very interesting but needed time for sure.
Yeah. How important is you two's chemistry? Because I was watching a video of you two beat the clock. It was a production.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
you two had a production challenge, and you had to come up with a beat in 10 minutes. And you two, oh my gosh,
I remember that.
You just worked like clockwork. He would come up with he wouldn't even shout the idea. He would just whisper something. You would just whisper something, and then the beat would fuse. And so, I wanted to ask, like, how important has that chemistry, that creative chemistry, been throughout your whole journey?
Man, it's hard to put into words, I guess, how much having him then and now, how pivotal and how needed he is, because the usual sayings, two heads are better than one, no man's an island. We know all of that stuff, but it's different when you're actually in a position where, like, this isn't about you as an individual. I'm trying to say, this is about for the greater good. This is about us as an entity, and over time, I guess from the beginning, it was just never about anyone trying to be better than anyone. It was never about any external agendas. No one was trying to use anyone for anything. It was really just about, you're hungry, I'm hungry, let's make this happen. And every time that we have the opportunity to step into a room and make music. We don't. It's almost like an unspoken rule. Like we don't have to say anything to each other. We just know what we're trying to achieve. And I guess that's because of obviously 10, 15, 20 years of just being around each other. You kind of get used to each other's mannerisms. But it's really, I have to bring it back to the importance of the agenda. I'm trying to say no one here is trying to be better than anyone. No one is trying to prove a point to anyone. We're just two young black kings coming together to do something. That's basically it. It's nothing external. A lot of people in duos or in some form of partnership trying to prove to the other person or trying to be the leader or trying to be, I'm trying to say we're all leaders. Everybody has a position to play. And as long as you focus on playing your position, then everything will go the way it needs to. But and when I look at that statement in regards to me and Mikey and our chemistry and everything, it makes perfect sense. The two marry. I'm trying to say, like, I can sit in a session and not do anything, and Mikey does it all himself. I'm trying to say, people don't even realize there's projects that we've produced separately.
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Like even down to times where he would have done something that has nothing to do with me, but a lot of people don't know because it will just say Sons of Sonix. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like it's just to reinstate and make people understand that this isn't about who's the face or who's important. This is about the music is great. We're here to do a job. I'm trying to say. When it goes out, people are going to enjoy the music. Most people, 8 times out of 10, ain't going to be like, let me see who's who on the song. Like, only really musical heads are really going to do it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, for me, it's the agenda. The agenda's clean, it's pure, and we have a goal that we're trying to achieve. So,
How do you deal with, especially in sessions, how do you deal with creative differences? So you want to go this way with a beat.
We don't have creative differences. That's what's actually crazy. We don't have creative differences. Like I said, it's about position playing. I'm trying to say, like, wherever he goes or wherever I go, I follow. I'm trying to say. So
that's
if there's
rare.
an idea,
that's very rare, you know.
Bro, if there's an idea that he's come up with, I have to trust and believe that I just haven't caught the wave yet, and he's caught it before me. So I have to play my position and add one thing or add 2 things, and that's it, and vice versa. Do you get what I'm trying to say? A lot of people for some other people, it's about, but I got this idea. I was kind of thinking to go this way, but do you get what I'm trying to say? It doesn't happen in this building. It doesn't happen in this building. It doesn't happen. And even in our day-to-day life, it just doesn't happen. Like, we don't have money conversation, bro. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we don't, it's just common, it's almost just too common now. I'm trying to say we're too intertwined with each other to even have certain conversation. It just happens. So again, when you're in a studio session with whoever it is, whenever it is, whoever's got the vibe, however the vibe goes, it goes that way and you follow. I'm trying to say, this isn't about anybody. This is about the record. This is about making the best of the best. So at that point, your ego kind of drops and everything else is what's the focus. So
Love that, man. When you two have that chemistry and you bring it together, and just like you said, you lot go into sessions with these big artists, Jennifer Lopez, Stormzy, Wretch, Bieber. How do you marry, because you two already have a chemistry that works, how do you marry that, or how do you make that work when you have to bring external big power and sometimes big egos into the room? How do you manage those kind of interactions?
I'm trying to pinpoint how to drop it. The crazy part of life in general is you just never know who you're going to meet. You never know what anyone's gonna say, but you can always be prepared. So in this case, over the last, should I say, 2 years, it's been a real transition from, I guess, should I say, not knowing to knowing. I'm trying to say, everyone this year is like 2020, the year of the self-discovery, all of that stuff. And I'll definitely say we've been a part of that. And obviously, as time has gone on over the last 2 years, there's just a certain mindset and a certain frequency that we work at. So it doesn't matter whatever energy is coming in. We've already set ourselves a certain way. We're already constantly working on ourselves to be better versions of ourselves. So whoever we come around, again, it's not about feeding the ego. It's not about, going against the ego. It's just being accepting of however it goes. Sometimes we try and control the narrative a bit too much. Someone comes in with the ego, let's say you don't even know, and then you kind of be like, what? Why is this person? Sometimes it's about how you respond to it. I'm trying to say, what is your response to that energy that's coming in? You come across a whole bunch of people. I could tell you so many stories. I'm trying to say. I can imagine. So many stories, and when you're younger, the automatic thing is you want to be like, bro, you talking to who? That's the natural thing. But as you kind of grow and you become more self-aware and you work more on yourself, there's just certain energies that you know how to, attend to better. So in situations where there are egos and there are people who have 50 chains on their neck and 2 rollies on the same hand, like, you just kind of just sit and you're just peaceful, because for you it's just like, this is about the record. I'm trying to say. So this isn't about trying to make that you can't talk to someone like that. It's not my job. My job is here to come and do the work. And the person that I am, the truest self that I am, how me discovering myself every day is what comes out in those rooms. That's what people see. I'm trying to say, and that's why I said to you that the experience is way more important than the product. What people experience of us, what people experience of me day to day is what we live in their hearts, not how many accolades or how many plaques we have on a wall. Like, that's very far and few. I'm trying to say, but the experience people have of you is what actually they pass on. Word of mouth is the quickest way to share any form of information. It takes one person to go, he's not a nice person, and then everyone's like, really? Yeah, maybe that's about that. I'm trying to say, it happens like that. That's how it happens. I'm trying to say. So at that point, your talent doesn't mean anything. I'm trying to say. So the experience going into those sessions, with those different personalities, you're at peace in your home. You're kind of secure in your home. So there isn't anything that you're trying to prove. You're just trying to live in the moment, share the experience of yourself with someone else, and whatever that is, whether that's a rude person, whatever, is going to be reflective in how you respond to whatever that ego is, whatever that pride is, wherever it's coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see it, brother. I love this. With Stormzy, with people like Wretch, there's 2 of my favorite artists, and you guys have this ability to take an artist and to expand their creative landscape. So you would never have heard a particular sound from them, but when they come across you lot, you bring a different part of them out of you. Is that something that you lot are conscious of, or again, it's just that a result of the chemistry that you don't bring?
Nah, we're definitely conscious of that. Definitely. Yeah. If you look at our discography, we've always been about going against the grain. We've always been about, how do we elevate this artist? So, perfect example, get hit up to send records for Rihanna. Example. Now, the automatic thing for most producers would be to send reggae records, because she's from Barbados. That's just the natural thing for you to do. But not many people would say, let me send a piano record, because they automatically think, she needs a reggae record. They think radio, they think of all of these things, and it's just like, go against the grain. Like, give them something that that they're capable of doing, but they probably hasn't been tested. And that's how we approached Wretch and Stormzy. For us, it's just always about, all right, you're a rapper. There's a certain type of way that producers are gonna want to give you a certain sound. So for us, it's just like, okay, what sound can we go for? What can we give you that is still you, but just kind of delivered in a different way? So, Wretch, tell me, right? A lot of people probably within a million years would have been like, Wretch is not doing no Afro.
Bro, when I saw that, when I heard that song, when I heard that song, I was like, I was shocked because I just didn't. I never envisioned him on that pattern.
Yeah.
I never envisioned his delivery, and so. But I was grateful that somebody had brought it out of him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's trial and error. This music thing, there's no specific perfect way. There's no, if you do it this way, this will happen. Like, everything is trial and error before you get a pattern. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
So, again, that record, we was at the Composer Show, right? What was it, 2016 or something? I can't remember. He was at a Composer Show, and obviously, you know, they play a lot of old school records. So one of the songs they played was the Whitney Houston sample. It's not right, it's okay, I don't make it. The sample, right? So we will all looked at each other like, bro, this would be very, very sick to sample. Like, this would be a serious one to sample. Got to the studio the next day, and we started making it. You know what I'm trying to say? And for Wretch, it was just like, yeah, like, this is a new avenue for me. Same way we approach 6 words. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like
one of my favorites.
You know what I'm saying? Like, same way we approach that. It's just like doing what you love, but giving your audience what they like. So we know that in the crowd of, like, I don't know, 20 artists that are all doing Afro swing, it's just like we want Wretch to kind of be merging as well. We don't want him to be too far removed or too far apart. So it's just like, all right, we're gonna make it Afro swing, but we'll make it in a way where it's just like, it still feels like this is something that Wretch will do. You get what I'm trying to say? It's not too far removed. And we got in the studio and it worked. It worked. You know, 6 words, same thing. But you know, it really comes from a place of patience. You know, a lot of people want to kind of go in and just kind of just be like, yeah, let's just do it now. It's really a patient. It's a patient game. You know, we was working with Wretch for 8 months before we stumbled on 6 words. You know what I'm trying to say? There's a comfortability that you have to get to. Yeah, there's a comfortability that you have to get to. People have to trust you. You have to trust them. And then you build that, and then eventually you stumble on something. You know what I'm trying to say? And then kind of realize, okay, this is the way to do it. And then you try and repeat that over and over and over and over again. Yeah. But we've just never been afraid to try and go against the grain, even if it's not what everyone is making or what everyone's doing. You try it, and then 9 times out of 10 it works. It works. So we're fortunate. We're definitely fortunate and grateful. But they're also open artists who are not very much kind of just are stuck in I'm a rap artist, so I just need to just have a certain type of rap record. Like, that's not Wretch's energy. That's not Stormzy's energy either. It's just like, how do we make this sound new? How do we do this in a different way? You know, how do you look at a record and say, how does Wretch sound on this? How does Stormzy sound here? You know, I'm trying to say it. Kind of just go from there. So it's a constant thing for sure.
And when it does work, you sell. When it does work, you sell over 200,000 on Tell Me. #1 album with Storms. 1.4 billion streams with Bieber. How do you guys deal with success? Because when it goes right and it keeps going right, there's a new there's a new Mikey that you're going to have to deal with that didn't rear its head before because there wasn't that success. So when it does rear its head, how do you deal with all that success and added pressure?
Man, treat it like there is no success. That's how we deal with it. It's just like, I remember being in school playing football, and my teacher, whenever you'd score a goal, you'd hear them go, 0-0 boys, 0-0 boys. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it almost feels like it didn't happen, even though it happened. You know, a great man used to say, you know, only celebrate success for 24 hours. You know what I'm trying to say? After 24 hours, next, you know what I'm trying to say? We're in a very fast-paced world. We're in a very fast-paced industry. The guy that was hot yesterday is no longer the guy that's hot today. So it's just like, you got to keep turning over. You know, that's an aspect. And then, you know, on top of that, the environment you keep is very important. You know, no one can get gassed here because we have an older brother who's been doing all of this before we even started. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's just like any sort of funny business, which there isn't, it's just, are you all right? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, are you all right? It's just there's so many levels, you know what I'm trying to say? And for us, we don't want to stop growing. You know what I'm trying to say? This is the elevation of self. This is the elevation of your soul, and the growth of you as a person. And the only way to constantly grow, right, is to constantly humble yourself. Is to constantly look past the current success or the current thing that's happening, because it's short-lived. You know, nothing lasts forever. We know that. Nothing. It's like seasons, right? It's hot today. Next week it'll be cold. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's just about constantly understanding that nothing lasts forever. Enjoy it while it's there. Move on. Next one. Enjoy it while it's there. Move on. Next one. But a lot of the time is people remain at that place from a place of fear. It's like, I don't know if it's going to happen again. So you know what? Let me just ride it as much as I can right now. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I'm not going to put anyone down for doing that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But if you believe in the evolution of self, if you believe that you were sent here for a reason, then you're always going to stumble on that. When, you don't know, but you will always stumble on it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You always come across it. And, you know, it isn't for anyone to get to a point of success and think that's that. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, the way I'm looking at Harmony as the successful person and the person that I'm trying to emulate and be bigger than, he's looking at, I don't know, Dr. Dre and Rodney Jerkins and Timbo, you know what I'm trying to say? And then I guess Timbo and those guys are looking at all the other people that are above them. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a constant cycle, you know what I'm trying to say? And once you understand that you are one person in the midst of how many people that are on this plane, you kind of just is like, all right, cool, this is a good move, amazing, next. Okay, this is a good move, amazing, next. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just about growth, constant growth, bro. It never stops. You know, the moment the success gets to your head, the growth stops, because you now feel like, all right, I've made it, I'm cool, I don't have to do anything else. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm trying to say? And then you realize that whatever it is that you want to achieve, or whatever it is that you did achieve, only lasts for that moment. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just like being in the music industry. You make a big check and you think, oh, man, it's good. Man, you know what I mean? You know, go down to Melrose real quick. You know, just take a little spin there. But then you realize that, right, if I don't invest this well, this money's going to go. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the principle of understanding that it's a constant growth. So that's why you put your money in investments. That's why you put your money in things that's going to give you residual income. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's how you look at it. Like, okay, I made this, I did this today, it's successful. How's this going to propel me to the next thing? Okay, there's a play here, cool. All right, I've made it here. How's this going to propel me to the next thing? It's constant. It's constant. You know what I mean? So, you know, you have to allow yourself to be around people that are going to be honest with you, and people that are going to knock your head if you do get a big gas. Because we all have that. We all have that thing in us. It's just natural. Every human wants to feel, you know, like they've achieved that thing that they've been striving their whole life to. And when you get to that point, you feel like, damn, I'm here now. But a lot of the time you get to that point, you're like, oh, I'm here now. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then you're like, okay, what's next? So there always has to be something that's next. There always has to be, you know, the constant pursuit of growth in yourself, because that boils over to everything else in your life. So, yeah.
You're speaking some facts like that now, my brother. I wanted to ask, I can't remember if lives, I think they extended the time on lives.
Okay.
So,
but there was a cap. There's a cap.
There was a cap of an hour, but I think they extended it.
Really?
So if they do a countdown, guys, we're just going to do a part 2. So we'll just start a new one. So yeah.
Cool.
As you look to Harmony, has there ever been a time where you've had to fight to, especially in the music industry, have to fight to maybe get around his shadow and forge your own lane? Because you're not Harmony's brother, you know what I'm saying? You're Mo Samuels. You're who you are in your own right. Yeah, tell me about those times and how you've had to do
that. It doesn't stop. I'll tell you that. It's never going to stop. And this is what I was saying to you about getting to a place in your life where you become accepting of things. You become accepting of just that this is how it was meant to be. This is just how it's meant to be. So rather than trying to run from something, you kind of just embrace it. You know what I'm trying to say? So, you know, in this case, I can't run from it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, we have the same surname. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if you go on my Instagram, you see his picture everywhere. If you go on his, you see mine. Like, it's just the inevitable. There's nothing we can do. So I've become more accepting now. Okay, that's it. And it's actually a beautiful thing in every aspect. But excuse me, when I was much younger, it was just, you know, people weren't interested whether you was good enough. Oh, your hummus, brother. All right, cool. And that's a pressure in itself. That's already a pressure in itself, because it's just like, okay, you don't even know if I could actually make records. You get what I'm trying to say? So there's the pressure side of it, but there's also the side where you feel like you don't get a look in because they're looking at him. You know what I'm trying to say? And I guess just as time goes on, I became someone who just, I guess, stopped worrying about that. I just stopped trying to, I guess, live in the shadow. Now it's just about accepting what it is, because it's a great place to be in. It's a great thing to have someone that is blood, same parents, in that position. And it's just about how you use that for the greater good, to benefit yourself.
The agenda.
You know what I'm trying to say? Rather than trying to run away from it, or per se trying to prove that, yo, I'm my own person. It's just like, there's nothing you can do about it. He's very successful and you are a part of that. So it's either you accept it or you just be mad. And every time you come across someone that's like, oh, you're homies, brother, it's just like, yeah, man, same mom, same dad, same family. You get what I'm trying to say? You just become more understanding, and you become more about where we're trying to go, rather than trying to prove whether you are your own. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just, no one's trying to prove it. At least I'm not, anyway. And I know my brothers are not either. So the shadow just becomes something good, something that I just accept and I enjoy and I dance in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, yep, I am. Yep. And then and then they go off and do their own research, and it's like, oh, as much as you're his brother, you've done this stuff by yourself. Damn. Yeah. So what are you really doing it for? That's the question.
Yeah. How does he feel about your success and everything?
He champions it. You know what I'm trying to say? He's like, I'm on my way out, so you're next. You taking the pressure. You know what I'm trying to say? That's his thing. But my success is his, and his success is mine. At the end of the day, this is not about one person. I have to keep stressing that. This isn't about one person. This isn't about one thing. This is about different minds coming together to make something great. You know what I'm trying to say? The striker doesn't play defense, does he? The defense man doesn't play striker. But every part is as important as every part. Because if you didn't have Virgil van Dijk, for those that know, in that position, playing striker, everyone's going to be... He won't know how to take the responsibilities of what a striker has to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So his position and his responsibility is to play defense, whereas someone else's position is to play striker. And once you understand the positions that you play, your chemistry becomes better, because it now is about the football team. It's about winning, rather than Van Dijk trying to be the center of attention. Do you understand what I'm saying? So at this point, everybody's success is the same. Everyone's, when he wins, I win. When I win, he wins. You know, I'm trying to say, you know, he just, not just recently, but, you know, he's got his own liquor line, and, you know, that's really... Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's something I'm proud of, because I'm a part of it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's his success, but it affects me too. So, again, understanding that this isn't about trying to run the race yourself. This is about all of us holding hands together and running it together in our own separate lanes. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so,
beautiful. Nadine has a question. She says, now that you're living your dreams, how does it compare to what you once imagined?
Good question. Good question. I think for me, at this position now, I think I understand that sometimes when God blesses you, it's not in the way that you want it, but it's still a blessing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you're young and you're 15, 16, whatever, you have all these amazing dreams and all these things that you want to achieve. And you achieve them, but sometimes not in the way that you've kind of panned out. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Everything is about a greater plan, a bigger plan. You know what I'm trying to say? And from a God perspective anyway, everything is about a greater plan for the greater good. So you understand that, all right, I want to be, for instance, you know, some people are like, oh, I want to be married and have a kid by 30. No, 25. Let me say that. And then 25 comes and you're like, you know what? Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say? But you might have received a different sort of blessing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? See, the idea isn't that we're not meant to ask. We're meant to ask. We're meant to want those things. We're meant to dream big. We're meant to see ourselves and our future way better than where our present is. But obviously, sometimes the blessing isn't exactly how we want it to be. That doesn't mean it isn't a blessing.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's understanding. When I think about that, it's just like, wow, you know, becoming successful, becoming a young entrepreneur. It's just like, at the time, my idea of success meant something else. Now my idea of success means something completely different because the way God has blessed me, it's just like, okay, you blessed me knowing what I needed without, you know what I'm trying to say, which inadvertently was what I wanted. You know what I'm trying to say? 100%. It may not have happened in the way that I wanted it to. It may not have come to me in the way that I wanted to, but it was still a blessing. And it was still something that was beneficial to my growth and to becoming a better person and to becoming my truest self. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
I understand. Bro, I literally, I had to move house in the pandemic.
Wow.
And me and my wife, we found one that we loved. It was, oh my gosh. I even know that the name it was called.
Wow.
I even know the name. It was called Hall Grove. Yeah. Hall Grove. It was perfect.
Wow.
And we prayed everything. We said, yes, this is it. This is it. We even got to see it before everybody else. We put in an offer, and the guy said, cool, I'll take it to the landlord. The landlord has to decide. The landlord was taking time. And then it turned out the person had placed the house with like 3 other estate agents. So there were other people looking at the house. We thought we were the only person. So it ended up, we didn't get it, but someone else did. I was crushed. I was so crushed. I was like, but this is what it should have been. It's got the garden, it's got the space. And what ended up happening was we got where we are now. And where we are now. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, where did you hear me? Okay.
Someone else took it.
Yeah. And so someone else ended up getting it. Mm-hmm. And then we found where we are now. And one, it was much cheaper, but it wasn't what Hall Grove looked like. But now we're in it. It fits every single thing that we need. Everything. So God didn't give us what we wanted, but he provided what we needed. And that, now every single time I go upstairs or I'm in the living room, I look around, I'm like, oh, you know what? God, thank you, because there's certain things you think you know, but you have no idea that God might be preventing from you. When we got to this place, the landlord was doing work. He was putting in new carpets, new fridge, new cooker. And when we spoke to him, I said, thank you so much. He said, as a landlord, for me, what is most important is that it doesn't feel like a house, but it feels like a home for you. That is of mine, because if I invest in it, then I believe that you'll take care of it. I was like, oh my gosh. So it's true what you're saying. Like, you can think this is what you want, get there, and it falls to pieces. And it takes patience, and understanding what is meant for you will come for you.
Yes, sir.
Accepting that,
Yeah.
and being able to let go of things that you think, were yours.
Absolutely.
Deep,
There
man.
you go,
It's
bro.
deep.
Congrats, man. Congrats,
Thank
my
you.
brother. It's plain and simple right there, man. You know what I'm trying to say? You said
JK had a question. Are you the type of producer that puts their vocals on a track, or are you just the producer that will just produce? Would you lay down the track?
you the type of producer that puts their vocals on the track? I'm trying to understand that question because it's many ways to do it.
So some producers would be like, oh, this is how I think the chorus would be, and they would lay down that vocal as a track or as a bass.
Like
for the
a melody
artist.
line, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, on a lot of the records with Wretch, I'm singing on the backgrounds.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of the records. Growing Up Life, You Give Me Something I Can Feel. That was my vocal. On Tell Me, there's some male vocals. That's my vocal in the back. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. This is a creative space. I'm trying to say, and it's just about exercising those creativities in whatever way possible, and
to get that agenda.
To get that agenda and being confident about it. You get what I'm trying to say? Until you try, you won't know. So, if I do it and it doesn't sound good, well, I tried it, so it doesn't. You know what I'm trying to say? But kind of sitting and going, right, this could sound good, but thinking, right, nah, I'm not really meant to. You're just doing the record, the artist, the people in the room disjustice. You know what I mean? That means you're not really being really honest about what you think and how you feel about a record. So, yeah, man, this is not just about, pressing the keyboard. Most times I'd rather not. I'd rather jump in a booth and do a melody line.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, and my job's done. Creativity can come from any angle. However, just embrace it, man, and give that out. We need it.
Yeah. Cool, man. 2 more points I want to go to. I want to talk about the business music, not the music business. I want to talk about the business music, because that is that's the way it goes. Actually, that's the right way around. How do you lot start the conversation about splits? I know you lot do split sheets, and how do you start that monetary conversation when it's all about the vibe, it's all about the agenda, when it's all about the bigger picture, but we still need to take care of business? Is that something you start in the beginning, or would you do a whole track and then talk after?
Usually after. It really depends on the type of client we get. So everything is case by case. So someone like Justin, you're not going to go into the session and be like, yo, brother. So obviously, you get what I'm trying to say? Or you're not going to make the record and after be like, yo, Justin, so what are we saying? What's the split? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's different. It's case by case. It's different. Different artists are in different positions that need different attention. So for someone like Justin, the paperwork is going to get done, so you don't really talk about that.
Okay.
You know that there's no way Universal, a renowned corporate company, is going to release a record without making sure that proper paperwork or business is done. It's a suit. You're being sued. Period. Off rip. They don't want that. They don't want that energy. You know what I'm trying to say? Whereas for an independent artist, that doesn't have necessarily any backing or
infrastructure,
any structure, you have to, as a producer, safeguard yourself. So most times it's like, all right, no problem. Okay, so what's your budget? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because there isn't no safeguarding. And what tends to happen in situations like that is we do this thing where it's just like, all right, cool, I believe in you, cool. And then we make 20 records, 15 records, and then either they don't have the funds or are in the financial position to do it, or they're like, well, let's just do splits. And it's just like, cool, but where's my time being made up for? You get what I'm trying to say? Because time, you can't get time back. Money, it comes and it goes. You know what I'm trying to say? Time, you can't get time back. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's case by case. And but 80 to 90% of the time, business is always done after. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Whereas in some other cases, it's just like, Mr. Man, so before we get into the studio, what does this mean? Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's just like, what is, like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, everyone has to eat. Everyone has to make sure that they're in good position. You know,
and for those who might not know, what is a split sheet?
So a split sheet is basically a form. By the way, just before I explain that, we've never done split sheets.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember the last time that me and Mikey done a split sheet.
Wow.
It's just emails. Yo, offer it. This is what we're getting. Period. And you know, we're you know, negotiable guys. We're open. Obviously, if it makes sense, but most times is everyone just understands the positions that we are, and a lot of the people that we work with, we're actually friends with. So it just never becomes awkward like that.
That's nice. That's nice.
But I digress. A split sheet is a form basically that is usually given out in certain sessions at the end of the session, where people, I guess, write down what percentage they believe that they're entitled to. Sometimes with that, I guess, at the end of the session, it kind of spoils the mood of the record, depending on how it's gone. You know, it's just like, we just made a dope record. Let's at least listen to it, breathe, go away, you know, marinate with it. You know, you're already kind of throwing a split sheet in my face. It can really dampen the mood if you're not, I guess, reading the room and, you know, being sensitive to the vibe. You know, but yeah, that's basically what a split sheet is.
Nice. Someone had a question here. Big up Governor B.
I just saw that. Someone said.
Governor B said, how do you prevent yourself from getting bitter with the people who doubted you now that you've had, now that you've had career success?
How do you prevent yourself from getting bitter? Good question. And I know why he's asking me that. Do you know what it is? It's easy to be like, oh, it's part of the process. But, you know, for me, no, and I'll be honest, it's easy to do that. It's easy to say, oh, it's a part of the process, and, you know, some people are not going to believe in you. And yes, I understand that, but this isn't about anyone but me. See, I had to get to the stage where this isn't about any external parties but Mr. Moses Samuels. This is about the evolution of me. You know, this is about every experience that I found myself in was to benefit myself, was to benefit the growth of me as a human being. So all those people that doubted me, or all the people that were, you know, not on the side, or wasn't really, you know, messing with us at the time, looking at it now, it's just like, you understand that, you know what, you were just playing a position that was beneficial to me. That's it. You know what I'm trying to say? If you didn't do what you did, it wouldn't have pushed me to do this. If you didn't say what you said, it wouldn't have pushed me. So now it goes back to what I was saying about becoming accepting, because you realize that this isn't about anybody else. This is about me. This is about how to be a better version of myself in every way, not just music, in life in general. And the experiences we go through are there to push us to that position where, you know, those things make up who we are. You know what I'm trying to say? And by the way, none of those things are ever for negative purposes, not at least from God anyway. Everything is always positive, whatever perspective you decide to see. So looking at it now, it's just like, at certain points of my life, I was definitely bitter. I was definitely like, what? Them man there gonna see what? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Now, being much older and being in a position and doing a lot of soul searching and evolution and evolving into the new me, you understand that those things were just placed to push you into a specific place. You know what I'm trying to say? Those things were put there to make you experience something that will benefit you. You know what I'm trying to say? Good or bad. And I say good or bad because good and bad is relative. But, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, however we want to look at it, it was for the benefit of me. Those things happening was for me. It was for me to be like, okay, this is something that I don't like about myself. This is something that I need to improve on. This is something, do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's just like, okay, I'm not even mad at you anymore because you were just playing a position that you was placed in that position for a reason. It was to benefit me. you may not realize it, but now it's like, okay, I get it now. You know what I'm trying to say? And I had to grow within myself and become so much accepting and become really understanding of, I guess, how God works in situations like that. You know, like I said to you before, like, struggle doesn't exist, only process. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you look at who God is and what he represents, what the divine represents, it's never about anything negative. And even though it comes across as negative, even though this, the present situation is negative, the other perspective is it has to happen in order to push you to get to this place. It has to transpire in order to make you think this way. You know what I'm trying to say? A great person said, if there was no good, if you didn't know what good, if there was no good, there wouldn't be no bad. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you need balance. You need a balance. There has to be the spectrum of both. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, perfect example, there's a book that I've been reading, Conversations with God. A few people that are on here know the book, and the book is just like, if there were no litigations, there'd be no lawyers.
Yeah.
If there was no illnesses, there would be no doctors. Same way we look at God. If there was no problems, there would be no need of God. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, everything has to transpire the way it needs to, because it benefits those in question. So in this case, the people that doubted me, I needed you to doubt me. You had to do that, because it was only going to push me into a place where I'm like, okay, you're doubting me, so now I have to prove that I am what it is. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
100%,
But being older, I look at it now like, I'm like, oh, it had to happen that way. So now I'm not even mad at you no more, because you were just playing the position that you was placed in. That's 100%. It. You know? So it's a growth thing. It's all for the benefit of me. And anyone else that's listening, understand that it's all for the benefit of yourself. It's never about that person. That person's just playing a position that they've been placed in. That's it.
We've got a comment here from Nadine. She says, it's not a question. Just want to say, Moses, we love your humility, your work ethic, and your passion to help others. Love it. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I've got one more question. You guys are more than producers, and you've pushed hard to just be labeled as producers, but more as entrepreneurs. And you've got a publishing deal, joint venture with Peeve. What was it, Peeve?
Yeah, Peeve Music, yeah.
Peeve Music. And you signed your first artist, Miss Ty. They got Miss Ty. Just Ty, actually. How important was that in terms of ownership and in terms of, you know, pushing out your portfolio, rather than just being seen as producers, but your business portfolio? How important was it, and how did you even do it?
Very important, very important. And like I said to you, where you classify success and what you see as success and where you see yourself, it's not a bad thing. But if it's not in conjunction with where God's trying to take you, you might look at sometimes when you get to a place like, but this isn't what I asked for, and he's like, but look at where you are. But look at where you are. So I guess 15 years ago, 10 maybe, I wouldn't have said that me and Mikey would own a label in some respect. At the time, it was just, we're trying to be the dopest and the hottest producers. But, you know, over time, you just understand that you're only going to be playing keyboard for so long. You're only going to be doing that for so long. You know what I'm trying to say? Is, you know, how do you expand out of that? You know, who is being blessed by the position that you've been put in? You know, and again, back to what I was saying about self-realization, self-growth. Like, you understand that we're put here for other people to experience us, for other people to be blessed by the talents and the tools that we've been given. You know what I'm trying to say? And when you start realizing that in yourself, certain aspects of your life and your career come into conjunction with that. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
So again, in this area, it's just like, all right, we're developing ourselves and becoming people who are open-minded and accepting and all of these things. And then you realize that, okay, we now also want to be in a position where we're able to stretch our arms out and deliver that same opportunities to other people. You know what I'm trying to say? So when you get in the positions, when you've done certain records and you've done certain numbers, people trust you. People are like, okay, we believe that you're able. So, you know, we were fortunate enough, shout out to our publisher, Tuff Morgan, VP at Peeve. He believed in us. You know, he signed us off of one record, 6 Words, in London. You know, yeah, if he tells you the story, he'll be like, I heard that record and I knew who you lot were. I knew what you lot were trying to deliver. I knew what you lot were trying, where you were trying to go with this. And, you know, he signed us off of that. And ever since he signed us, he kept on saying, this isn't just about being able to produce.
Wow.
You know, this is about becoming young businessmen. And this is being 24, 25, you know what I'm trying to say? And doesn't know us from a can of paint, just from what he hears, you know what I'm trying to say? And, you know, we don't even call him Tough, we call him Uncle, because he is like our uncle. Like, he really, really took us on board. And, but anyway, you know, obviously we had made a couple of records for Kid of Kuds, a lot of the Afrobeat stuff, and the Afrobeat scene 3-4 years ago really started picking up on this side of the pond. And we went to Nigeria for the first time in 2019, last year. And that was an experience in itself. And when we was over there, shout out to our manager, Dana, who, you know, took us over there, had been telling us for a long time, we need to go to Nigeria. And we were just like, yeah, you know, yeah, we'll think about it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But we went, and we just caused a whole bunch of noise. We was with everybody. We was in sessions with everyone. We did a camp in conjunction with University of Nigeria. And it just caused a lot of attention. And they over here were like, yo, you lot are really, you lot are really doing some stuff over there. And they became interested in, again, Uncle Tough. He was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about, becoming businessmen. All right, we need to get you a joint venture. Now, in our brains, are we ready to run a label? Are we ready to, you know, sign people in some respects? But sometimes when the blessing comes, you just have to embrace it because it's a blessing. And like I said, in our individual lives, we were becoming better versions of ourselves. So when the time came for us to play this position of entrepreneurs and to put other people in position, we were able to handle it. You know, a lot of people think about being an entrepreneur, being in positions like you have to sit at a table and point a wand and say, do my biddings, and who you talking to, like what you see on TV, what they tell you. Nah, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? It's clear communication, it's clear talking, it's clear, you know, and you can only learn that when you work on yourself. So when we were able to do those things, the opportunity came for us to be in that position to be able to handle that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when the time came for us to have our own label, we were ready for it. You know what I'm trying to say? And Uncle Tough was like, yep, we need to do a joint venture. And he's been, you know, teaching us gems and, you know, just telling us things about the music industry and, you know, how to make it lucrative business, you know, especially in the time now, bro, where making records when no one's buying records, you know what I'm trying to say, how it was 10 years ago, everyone's streaming everything, and we all know what the streaming numbers are, especially if it's not no Adele or anyone of that caliber. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we know how that goes. So he was putting us in position to be able to take ourselves out of just sitting behind a board and placing certain things and placing us in certain situations that was going to benefit us long term. So yeah, that happened. And then what's crazy, and this is what I'm saying about how everything is happening how it's meant to. We were developing Thai 2 years prior to that.
Wow.
Prior to us signing a deal with the label deal with Peeve, end of last year, beginning of this year, we had already been developing her for 2 years. She was coming to LA. She was with us. We were making records, everything, and we were like, yo, she's the next one. And they were like, all right, we trust you, so cool. No record. She's not had no records out. She's not put anything, no sort of music out or anything. We were just working, you know, getting her placements. Her stuff was sounding amazing. She wasn't even really on the artistry thing at the time. She was just trying to improve and, you know, make dope records and put herself in position. And the opportunity aligned with time, and everything just made sense. You get what I'm trying to say? But it made sense because we were in position for it to make sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Imagine if a lot of the things that we needed to get rid of personally in our own life weren't dealt with. We wouldn't have been able to handle it. you know. So that's really where it happened. So just yeah, it happened. She's our first artist. We're really gonna push next year. She also signed her record deal this year as well.
Cool.
So,
With who?
yeah, we Universal Canada. That was just through Harmony.
Come on.
Through Harmony, so you know he has a joint venture with them as well. So everything just sat in place. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Everything kind of just combined, but we were in position to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good play. It wouldn't have made sense 10 years ago to have a label because we just weren't in the right places.
Yeah.
But it's time for it, and we're accepting of it, and we're excited for what's to come. For sure.
Love it, bro. Last question is, what type of legacy do sons of Sonix want to leave behind? When you put down the keys and you put down the business and you're just chilling away from it all, what do you want people to remember about the both of you?
That we're goofy. No, real talk. Like if you ever, well, you have to come to LA next year anyway.
I'm already there.
Yeah, we got a pattern it, bro.
I'm coming.
But you know, for us, it's just about enjoy every moment. Enjoy every moment, even if it's a bad moment. Every moment has been placed specifically for you to go to the next level. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we've become people over time who understands that the bad times are also the perfect times. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we need those things to happen to allow us to want to be like, okay, this is happening, so I have to find something or do something to counteract that. You understand what I'm saying?
That's deep.
And it's almost like a cut, right? You hurt yourself, you don't leave it, you attend to it, right? Exactly. It's the same thing. I hurt myself right now. I need to put a plaster on it for it to heal. I don't just leave it there to just, do you get what I'm trying to say? Everything is happening the way it's meant to, and I have to respond to it accordingly. Yeah. And because of that mindset, it's allowed us to become more at peace and just have more fun, even when it is bad, when it has been bad. Let me put it that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we still have bad days. Everybody does. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But it's about embracing those days and understanding that everything is temporary. So if you're in it now, that means you're going to be out of it soon.
Yeah.
It's fun, man. We're having fun. We're enjoying. And I know when you come over and you come and come and see what we've built over here, yeah, bro, it's peaceful. It's peace.
Bro, I can't thank you enough for today, man. For even going over time as well, man.
Anytime, man. We're family, so I would do that 100 times over, for sure.
Oh, I love, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm always, man, I'm proud. I'm happy to see both of you just hearing the journey behind the scenes of the work you're doing inside. That's what makes me proud, because it means that you guys' output, it just has no limit, because the work inside is already ready. It's already ready. So I'm always going to be praying for you. I'm always going to be saluting you. I'm always going to be shining the light on you, because you're doing amazing things, both of you. So big up to Mikey as well.
Mikey.
Yeah. Guys, big up to everyone that has joined us for 21 questions. Make sure after this, click the link in the bio. Go on YouTube. We've got 30 episodes. 30 episodes like this, where people are sharing such wisdom and such experience and such life lessons. And it's just like Mo said, it's for the greater good of the people, that people hear these things and take whatever applies to them and applies it to their life. So thank you so much for joining us, bro. All the best. Just keep in touch, keep me up to date and everything.
Absolutely. Please give my love to the family.
All the time.
We speak soon.
No worries, bro. Love.
God bless you.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. when you finish this, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it, because there's so much that's been said in it that I feel can really, 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 really help people. Thank you for your time. We're going to be back here next week, next Thursday, 9 p.m. My name is ICIE Music. In the comment section, can you just write down how you found it? Yeah, if there's anything that stood out to you, if there's anything that encouraged you, I want to know. I want to know. It helps us keep doing what we're doing. In the link in the bio, there is a feedback form. So if you want any feedback, please do, feel free. Or if you also want to send us a DM, whatever works for you, but let us know how you're finding these sessions. We're going to be back here next Thursday, 9 p.m. Turn on questions. Thank you, man. Peace.